Hey everyone. I haven't been playing paladins in a while, but I've been reading up on a lot of the updates coming up, and I decided to make a future tier list for the 2.03 update coming up. So let's get started with this. So let's look at the patch notes real quick. So what they're doing with Dredge, like first off, is that you can't use the teammates can't use a shortcut anymore, which is pretty good nerf to him, I guess, because after they put that in his base kit, when they removed the talent where our teammates were allowed to use it, a lot of your teammates would accidentally take your portal, and it would like end up like hurting them more, you know. So it's just I guess it's a good thing, you know. It just doesn't need to be in his kit. So yeah, that's a nerf. Heave away. That's his Depth Hands card. So when you use his right click, the broadside, after using it, you have 4 seconds of increased reload speed. So they're getting rid of that, or they're changing the card in total, and they're gonna change it to where the hits from that broadside, your 3 little like delayed grenades, they reduce the cooldown of your harpoon each time one of them hits. So that's like if you hit all 3, it's gonna like proc 3 times. So if I believe if you max it out, it's what, like, is it a second? Yeah, it's like a second, which is pretty good. You can get like multiple seconds off of it if you decide to use it. So maybe a Abyss Spike might be pretty good. Aside from that, you can still buy Deft Hands for Dredge. Since they reduce the price of Deft Hands, you can still use Scuttle and play that play style if you like. Onto the next change, Fernando's Hot Pursuit. Looks like they're reverting his move speed after hitting an enemy with Fireball. It's pretty nice. It's got an internal cooldown of 10 seconds though, so you're not going to have a lot of uptime on move speed. But just having that move speed boost on like a lower cooldown than your charge is kind of nice and useful. Good like level 3, 4 card, up to you. But yeah, we might see Fernando pop more often in the meta. He's still in the meta in my opinion, but I can see people, more like casual players, also picking him up more often, because he used to be really popular. But once they changed that, when they nerfed the Pop Pursuit, people stopped using him. Rampant Bloomings for Grover is getting a nerf, so they're toning it down an extra, down by 10 health on the health per second, and taking a second off of it, so it's 3 seconds. So whenever you get hit by your Blossom, you're only going to be healed for a total of what, 150, 300, 450 extra health on top of your 900 heal. Not including Rejuvenate, by the way. Looks like they're changing his Chopper card, giving an extra 50 HP for hitting someone with your crippling throw. I don't know if using Deep Rooted that will proc multiple times if you hit an enemy with it. So if it does, I can see this card actually being a really useful self-sustain for him at level 1. Gentle Breeze is getting nerfed by 3%. Not too big of a nerf, it's just like an honest nerf. I still think Grover's gonna be like top pick like for support. He's still good, just his AoE heal is what makes him amazing. The passive healing, I mean. So Geno's Astral Mark is gonna heal a flat 300 health instead of 5% bonus health. Okay, that's pretty good. I was mistaken. I thought it was a nerf before when I like originally read this, that now it's a nerf to tanks, but apparently like before, the only person who can benefit from that 5% boost was like Makoa, but so now this is kind of an overall buff, which is nice. That's all he's getting. We're probably going to see more of Genos. I think he's still really good. The Luminary is like really useful. Single tank can come back, or just Genos is off support. We'll see. Koga, the submachine guns are reverting his clip nerf. That's pretty nice, but they're nerfing the Dragon Fangs, so it's back to how it was previously, and they're reducing the projectile of his Dragon Fangs. That's kind of rough. People were starting to crack the code on how to beat Koga, so he's just gonna go back to kind of being useless, I think. I mean, maybe we'll have like Dash Koga again, like Tracer Koga, but I don't see it happening. Maybe Adrenaline Junkie, we'll see. Like the only thing he's got going for him is that he's got like really good mobility. Let's see, Makoa, they hard nerfed Lovey by 600 HP, wow. So he's gonna be more honest. I like it, this is fine. I honestly think that his shield is kind of what makes him really good. But if they want to reduce his health, that's fine. Let's see, Moji's Familiar Spit. They reduce the flat damage from 250 to 100. That's kind of a lot. But they increase the amount of damage when you detonate your Magic Marks Spit from 775 to 1000. The Magic Marks is whenever you hit your right click with Moji and those numbers come up. Once it hits to level 10, you'll deal like 775, so they're buffing it now to 1000. That's really good damage, actually. I don't know how many seconds it takes to get to level 10 on debuff, but like stacking with that, like overall, it's probably a good amount of burst. Detonated Magic Marks only deal bonus damage at 8, 9, and 10, so now you have to hold your right click to get that bonus damage. You can't hold both buttons anymore to deal damage, which is fine. It doesn't really change anything because apparently now they're gonna fire it faster. It fires 20% faster from 0.1 seconds to 0.08. I want to see this in action. Moji's range on her Familiar Spit's actually deceptively like long, so I can see her maybe creeping up back in the meta. She still has a really good shield, the best shield in the game. So we'll see if people actually make use of her new kit. All right, now onto the tier list. Well, I guess, so wait, another few notes I want to talk about on this balance patch. I feel like they could have done a little bit more balancing things, maybe some buffs on certain champions, but right now they're focusing more on bug fixes, so I ain't mad. Alright, tier list. Same old, Makoa is always going to be SS tier. That hook displacement wins games. Nothing else to explain. Grover. Early game, he's just amazing. Just like if that team that has Grover will cap the first point, I would say like 75% of the time they're gonna win based off of momentum and credit advantage. That's how good Grover is, and he's just got amazing damage. He's got a fast projectile. You don't really have to do much as Grover. Like its cooldowns are like pretty easy. But yeah, he's just like one of the easiest supports to play in the game and one of the strongest. And Rejuve just makes him even stronger. Evie, so why do I have her on SS tier is that she's one of the last few hypermobility champs in the game. The removal of inbuilt cauterize a few patches ago really helps her as well. She kind of has like no counterplay other than hit scan, and a lot of the hit scan champions kind of got nerfed or they aren't as picked as much. Like ones I can think of is like probably Leon, obviously. But other than that though, like you rarely see like you know, like Andrew being played these days. It's like another hard counter to her back then, but they changed her ice block card. She just gets heal, so she has reprieve in her kit kind of. Other than that though, she's really hard to deal with, Evie, and she's still one of the best champions in the game right now, in my opinion. Ashe, they like overbuffed her quite a bit. She's got a lot of sustain, great shield talent. She's got all of her talents are pretty good. She's got just good self-sustain, honestly. Her ultimate now stuns people. The rally here is in your base kit. That's really annoying to deal with. Her mobility is really good. She's definitely a bully champ, highly picked. I've seen tournaments and ranked and stuff. S+, I have Ruckus here. Definitely that secondary tank you would use to get that extra amount of like damage you need to squeeze out if your DPS or other characters can't you know, supply that amount of damage, supplement it. So Ruckus is still always going to be good. His AoE on his right click, his Rocket Barrage talent's still amazing. Great ult. He synergizes with a lot of frontliners. I want to see people pick him more often. He still dishes out hella damage. Next up is Khan. Khan's just always going to be good. His kit's one of the best in the game. He's got a lot of good, easy self-sustain. Synergizes well with other things. It's similar to Ruckus in a way, but Khan, I think he's slightly better. Record does destroy him, but his ultimate is really good. It's kind of buggy right now, but they are working to fix it. But yeah, his displacement ult can definitely change like point fights and can win games. Bomb King still like hasn't really been unchanged other than his health nerf like a while back. Just having that blast damage like that, he still has like really amazing burst. So I don't really have to explain much about Bomb King. In previous videos and tier lists, I always have him high for this reason alone. He just has a great kit and is a great dueler. He can pretty much 1v1 like most of the champions in this game. Like I would say like 90% of them. Inara, she's just too tanky. I mean, just the Gala, she's always going to be good. With Rejuve and a good support, she's pretty much never going to die. One of the best tanks in the game, easily. Like even as a solo tank, like Inara's like probably the one who can do the job easiest. Cassie is Cassie. That's High-Res's baby. They will never make her useless or a bad character. She's always going to be good. She has a tool for every situation in the game. That's pretty much all I have to explain for her. And her like talents, they're all amazing. Big game is terrifying for tanks. Blast shot's good for dueling. Exaction's just good for like the mobility. Like she's just like definitely a skill-based character, but like she could use a health nerf, if anything, in my opinion, or maybe like a slight damage nerf on her left click. Like I could see that. Next is Leon. She's got a lot of burst damage with her presence ability. So with the Eminence, you're always going to be getting resets on the presence shot, and it's just easy. The hitbox is so big, and then they fix a lot of her bugs. And she's hit scan. She's got good damage at like mid range, even at long range. She deals like pretty alright damage. She's got one of the best ults in the game. She's just your average fundamentals character with like a good kit. Damba's up here. He's probably the next best support under Grover. It's not really much I have to say. It's just Damba. Zin, they fix a lot of his bugs. So he's definitely creeping up there. I might even put him in S+, like in my opinion. Like I have him up there, but like I'll just leave him here, like make it fair. Because like he doesn't work on every map, obviously, right? But his damage output's insane. He fights well into shield tanks. You can just ult them to waste the shield cooldown, like Fernando. Like the CC ult's really good. Like Guillotine's alright in some situations. Yomi damage is still nuts. Like just good into deployables. He's easily, like in my opinion, can duel every single direct damage in the game. Like he wins those. He just loses to burst, like blast damage, and it's always been the case for most flanks. Next we have Croc. So he's been hovering around S+ and S. Removal of inbuilt caught, like I mentioned in the past, really makes his Maelstrom sustain really amazing, and his damage output's good. We're playing in a really slow, like passive meta these days. Like hypermobility's been nerfed like a while back. So the longer the matches go, like the more like Grok's gonna be building fast ults, just like slowly like killing people and getting wins. And his ult's just good. He's slow on it, and the range is ridiculous. Just has so much like built into that ult, like make teammates faster, heal them, damage enemies, and you slow them. That's a lot of stuff for his ult that he can build really fast. Next up is Shaolin. A lot of people aren't picking him for some reason. I think he's good. Backline DPS is just strong right now. Like there's only a few flanks that are like actually picked a lot. And it's just like Xin and Edie, to my knowledge, are the main ones only being picked. And he kind of beats Edie. He's kind of designed to counter her, and a lot of the flanks, this whole kit's designed. The flanks aren't the issue. It's like reveal doesn't really matter much. Like his long range damage is good. He doesn't have the burst, but he's just a great tank shredder. Good, perfect like definition of a backline DPS. He can do a lot if he's not under pressure. Same goes for every single backline DPS. Maeve, I think she's still slept on. The Street Justice is an amazing talent. For frontliners, cat burglars, just like one of the fattest bursts in the game if you can hit the shots. The removal of built-in resilience makes your ultimate actually have value now. I think she's good. She's like maybe not as strong as Eevee, but she's got like really amazing mobility and pretty good like damage, and she's got no fall off at range, so she's decent as like mid-range, long range, like at any range she can just deal free damage. She doesn't really have to go too deep, you know? She's got built-in damage reduction in her cards. Like they buffed her 9 lives, her Q, so she can get a free burst heal whenever she uses it to reset her cooldowns. I think she's good. Dredge, he's getting a nerf. They nerfed the Heavyweight card so you don't get the Deft Hands. I explained it in the patch notes. I still think his damage is like really good, and he's still like a really hard character to play, but he rewards good smart gameplay. So if you have a really good Dredge player, he can kind of do a lot for your team, and still has like one of the best ults. He's got reusable talents now, like a Harpoon talent, still going to be alright. Hurl, this spike might be used. Other than that, he's pretty solid blaster. Good backline. Rogos, he's more like a draft like pocket. I have him on S, but like he's still like really amazing. Like in the draft, if you can draft around like where they have no hit scan, it's really hard to deal with Rogos, and he becomes like S tier, even SS plus on certain maps. Any of his talents are fine. Like they're all good right now. Like I haven't played much with Drogos, even though like I'm a Drogos main. I haven't played too much with Worm Jets actually, but I still run like Combusty. It's really good still. With a nerf to built-in resilience, like you get more value now from booping people around. These slots just still gonna hit people. Like Worm Jets though is just really annoying to deal with if you don't have hit scan to deal with it. He just stays in the air forever. Moving on. Mostly the 3 tanks that are kind of like leftover tanks. Torvald's usually banned a lot, just as a nothing ban. He can be good if paired up with a strong flanker like Zen, Eevee, even Viktor sometimes. Other than that though, like you need a lot of momentum to win with Torvald, but he can be strong in right hands. Fernando, he's still solid, definitely a solid tank. I don't want to move him to S tier, but S- is a perfect spot to leave him at. Barrack is still Barrack. Can deal damage. You can farm a lot of damage. Wrecker just really hurts these 3, like specifically. Imani, I had her up on SS last tier list. Right now I have her S-. They kind of nerfed a few things about her, but she doesn't have to reload, which is kind of dumb. And she's got hard CC, one of the talents with the root. Really good ultimate. Good backline DPS. She's got a lot of tools. I think she'll either stay in S or S-, in my opinion. She's a great like wrecker, great cauterize. She can do a lot. Vivian, I think she's still really good. Like just any of her talents are pretty decent, except the mine talent actually, the one where it boops people, booby trap. That one's kind of bad. You want to use the damage reduction one, or the one that deals more damage when you are like shooting for more than 2 seconds. She still has the fastest base move speed with cards. She's got good damage at range. She can deal with tanks by herself. She can deal with a lot of characters by herself, honestly. The only like hard counters to her are still like Bomb King and snipers to an extent. Another reason why I have her up high is she's like one of the last characters to have like technically perma reveal in her kit, like Strix used to, but now it got nerfed / removed. So Vivian's like one of the last easy reveals that's for your whole team. Moving on to A+, I stuck like the main supports, and I guess Pip, technically is like a support. They all like are pretty decent. Like Ying and Saris, they can do good healing. Same with Furia. Genos is not going to be picked as much as these 3, but he really works well with comps that have a lot of good self-sustain. So if you have like a Genos with a Khan and like a Barrack, like that's more than enough support, you know? It's just like that little extra is what they get, and like it's pretty useful. And then you get like a character that has like a damage pit maybe, like a Grok, like it's pretty nasty. Pip, like I can move him to S-, but we're gonna leave him at A+ because he gets countered late game. If you know how to play correctly. Brazil kind of messes him up if you're playing damage pit. Like right now I'm just only talking about damage pit. Brazil will counter him. A lot of backline and range will like really mess him up. He does have really good mobility though. It's just that a lot of tanks kind of ruin him. Like Ruckus is being picked a lot. Like Ruckus kind of wrecks him. Like yeah, so it's really hard. You have to play him on the right map and have the right comp that doesn't counter him. But when he's not countered in the draft, he's usually gonna be doing a lot of work by himself. We have A. I usually stick it for like counter draft stuff. This is what I'm leaving it as. So like this is like Frog Isle, like you just counter with last pickup sniper or something like that, and they have nothing to deal with. Like they're gonna be strong. Both snipers are still powerful in my opinion. You can go either or. It's up to you. Personally, I still like Kinessa more so than Strix for her mobility, but Strix can do a lot with Wrecker and his pistol talent. It's pretty decent. Koga is gonna get a nerf, so, but I don't think that changes much. If he's still gonna have like some of the best mobility in the game. Adrenaline Junkie's still gonna be alright. Like paired up with the Torvald, it's gonna leave him here at A+, but maybe even A-. I don't know. I think I might leave him here at A- or even B, but we'll have to see with the new patch coming up and how he feels. Lex is pretty much, you want him to play him on a flat ground map, because if there's any like high ground, he kind of gets sticked by it. Like sure, he's got some of the best move speed in the game, but people that have the high ground advantage can just deal with him before he gets there. They did buff his ult to where it destroyed shields, so there needs to be, I need to do a lot of like labbing with it and play with him more often to see how useful it is. I mean, maybe that buff was just added just so like, because Lex is rarely by record, right? So that's probably like why they used it for. So he's one of the few characters that can actually destroy shields instantly with his ult. So it's kind of a good use. You can destroy a barrack shield, etc. He's got good range on his like on his left clicks. Like about like not too much fall off. You're dealing like 350, like mid to far mid range. Other than that, he's just Lex. Nothing really different. Willow. She's kind of like a counter. Like I said, I leave this for counter draft stuff. If they have a lot of healing, they're like double support and they don't have a hit scan, Willow's going to be impossible to deal with. Like her ult's going to be annoying. Like her dead zone's still like the only true cot in the game. But yeah, she's just same old blaster backline. She can probably do more than Drogo's in certain situations as well. She's even, okay, the one thing that separates Willow though from other blasters that don't excel in certain maps is that she's really good on those long-range sniper maps like Fish Market, Blitzstone Quarry, Embermill. Like just because of her projectile speed, like she can actually like do work at range where she excels at. Let's see, she doesn't have to take as many risks. Like her ult is kind of like the only risky part of her kit. Moving on is that Skye, she's kind of like floating around like A+ sometimes, but Illuminate kind of counters her whole playstyle kit. She's a really good counter to Makoa and Ashe. They have like the largest health pools in the game, so one right click from her with Debilitate kind of does a lot of work. Paired up with a Torvald, she's kind of unstoppable. Solid ult when used properly. Other than that though, she's like risky. So let's leave her here in A-. It's just like niche. Let's see, B, we have Andro and Buck. Not much, like they can be used, but you're not gonna be picking them. Like you're never gonna pick them ever. Like prioritize them in a draft, like very, very rarely. With the Torvald, like I said, like you do with all flanks. But they backline DPS and CC is really powerful right now, and these characters suffer from it. Like Evie can deal with it because she can just blink out, soar out. Maeve can just like prowl out. She can pounce out. Zin can billow. They have good escape tools as flanks to deal with all that stuff. But these don't. So they kind of suffer from it. If we see like a reduction to result of 200 credits from 250, it might be useful and it might creep up again. Other than that though, like, I'm just gonna leave him here on B. Alice, he's just not good. Antediluvian, it's like not a thing anymore. He's just all cooldown dependent. He was just really used for his Antediluvian card for the built-in Cauterize with Wrecker. Like, it was just a good combo. He's just a walking ult. That's it. He's a walking ult charge. But yeah, he's just not really that good. And Moji, I don't really have to explain much. He's just bad. So yeah, that's my whole video that I decided to do. So I hope everyone likes it. Bye.